If you are even thinking about separation, it helps to slow down and get organized first. When people think about separation, they usually picture the moment everything changes, the conversation, the argument, the decision. But honestly, the real work often starts well before that. Because if you are even thinking about separation, it helps to slow down and get organized first. Not to be sneaky, not to create drama, just to make sure you're not walking into one of the biggest changes in your life without a plan. And that is what pre planning is really about. It is about giving yourself a little more clarity, a little more stability, and a lot less panic when things start to move. The first thing to focus on is your information. Before anything else, it helps to understand the full picture of your finances and shared life. That means collecting important documents like bank statements, tax records, insurance information, loan details, account numbers, and anything else that helps show what you own, what you owe, and what you share. A lot of people think they will remember everything later, but when emotions are running high, memory gets messy really fast. Let's take a look at your money. If you have not already, it may be smart to understand what money is available to you on your own. That could mean opening a separate account, building a small emergency cushion, or simply learning what your monthly expenses actually are. This is not about making a move overnight. It is about making sure you are not caught off guard if separation does in fact happen. And let me tell you, it is countless the amount of times people come to me in our firm and they say to me, I thought everything was great, I was blindsided. People get blindsided all the time. Relationships start unraveling in silence. And by the time someone tells you they're leaving, then you're the one left trying to pick up the pieces and then scrambling to get information then. Because once a relationship starts shifting, financial stress can hit quickly. And when money is unclear, everything feels harder. Another thing to think about is your shared assets and debt. What do you own together? What is one person's name only? What debts are shared? What bills keep coming no matter what? These are not the most exciting questions in the world, but they are important ones. The more clearly you understand the financial landscape, the easier it is to make decisions without confusion later. You will also want to protect important personal information. That means things like passwords. I never know my passwords. Digital accounts, copies of documents, and anything else that could become useful if the situation becomes more complicated. Look, the goal here is not to create conflict. The goal is to avoid chaos. And then there is the emotional side of things, which often get overlooked. Separation is not just a legal or financial shift. And in fact, what we say at our firm is there are two journeys going on here when you separate or divorce. There's a legal journey, and that's what you hire people like us to help you with. And there's an emotional journey as well. And that's just as vital, just as important as well. It's a deeply personal shift that you're making. So if you're preparing for it, it can help to talk to someone you trust, whether it's a counselor or a therapist. In our case, we give divorce coaches for free for our clients because we know how important that is. Because once the emotions take over, it becomes very easy to make rushed decisions, and rushed decisions are rarely ever the best ones. You also need to think about where you will live if separation becomes real. Would one person stay in the home? Would someone need to move out? Is there a short-term plan? Even if nothing is final yet, it helps to think through the possibilities ahead of time. Housing is one of those issues that can turn stressful very quickly, especially if nobody has considered the practical side. And if there are children involved, it's even a lot more stressful. The planning becomes even more important. You want to think about their routines, communication, and how to make the transition as smooth as possible. The less conflict children are exposed to, the better, obviously. Even if separation is difficult, the thoughtful plan that you take time to think over, it can reduce a lot of unnecessary damage. One of the biggest mistakes people make is waiting until everything is already falling apart before they get organized. But by then, emotions are louder, time feels shorter, and every decision carries more pressure. Pre-planning gives you room to breathe. It gives you space to think, and it helps you move through separation with more confidence instead of fear. So if you're at the point where separation is becoming a real possibility, the smartest thing you can do is start getting your life in order now. Not because the future is certain, but because being prepared makes uncertainty a lot easier to handle. I'll see you next time.